Good morning, folks. Jared here, coming to you once again, talking about Nebraska football. We're now at 8 straight losses for the Huskers, going back to last season. Ironically, the team that beat us yesterday was the last team we got a win against in Purdue almost 11 months ago, or nearly 12 months now. So, I mean, we're going way back, and Husker Nation is hurting. It's tough to watch these games because it's bad football, but really you do see the talent out there. It's just a lot of lack of execution and a lot of mistakes when you see guys like Davis hitting the quarterback late, Foster just plopping down on top of a lineman after he's already beat him with his block. It's just a lot of misdirected energy right now. The players want to do something good. They want to make a play, but it's just all misguided right now, and players are have lost their identity. The team has lost its identity, and this goes way back, folks. This goes way back to when Steve Peterson was hired as athletic director at Nebraska. I mean, people can laugh all they want and say, oh, we've had a lot of things happen since then. You're right, we have. But Nebraska's identity has never been the same. And we have to stick with our man Frost, because I'm telling you, after that game, I watched his post-game press conference, and I'm telling you that I got teary-eyed watching it. I mean, the guy wants this more than anyone, and it's just tough to watch. I seen him say things like, the players need to be accountable on and off the field, how these players act towards their teachers, towards their fellow students, towards the person serving them food in the lunch line. That all of these things are important. How they take care of a plane after they've flown back. Bill Moose says, he talked to Frost and says, geez, last year I saw him get off a plane after a flight, and I've never seen a place look so dirty and filthy, so much trash left behind. And Scott Frost knows that all of these things add up to your integrity as a person, and how you're going to perform when the chips are down, and whether you're going to be a leader, whether you're going to hold your teammate accountable, whether you're going to hold yourself accountable. And, he got pretty choked up talking about that, and he also says, I've seen my share of tough times at Nebraska, as a player. And a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, well, you were 11-2 and 13-0. How can you say you had tough times as a player? Well, I'm going to play a little clip for you of a little old video, and I just want you to see what he was talking about.
Saturday, the Big Red was booed in Lincoln for the first time in 16 seasons. The issue, what else? Quarterback complaints. Leading up to the clash in Seattle, London's calling from the faraway towns, Ogallala, Wahoo. Many Big Red backers want big play quarterback Frankie London to replace Scott Frost. But Osborne's not about to give up on the quarterback who beat Washington with his running back in '94 as an emergency replacement for injured Steve Stenstrom at Stanford. The case for London, in just 13 attempts, he's created both the Huskers' longest pass and longest run. Some Husker fans see a comparison to Nebraska's 92 visit to Seattle, the last time they were regular season underdogs. Osborne stuck with struggling quarterback Mike Grant. They lost. 2 weeks later, a freshman named Tommy Frazier made his starting debut. His career turned out pretty well. Steve Cyphers now returns to chronicle the fall and perhaps the rebirth today of the Huskers. Steve?
Chris, 364 days ago, life was good in Nebraska. Maybe too good, too comfortable. A blowout over Michigan State was followed by an off week, and then the Huskers headed to the desert, where Arizona State shut down the two-time defending national champions. This season, the Huskers dominated Akron, but then last week looked shaky against Central Florida. True, they've only lost twice in the last 364 days, but things look and sound different in Lincoln. It hasn't even been a year, but so much has changed.
Last year going in Arizona State, we were on top of the world. We're going for 3 national championships. everybody kind of thought we couldn't be beat.
It hasn't even been a year, but so much has changed.
This year, we come off a tough win against University of Central Florida. We don't think we're as good as we, probably thought we were at the beginning of the season, and we know we've got a lot to prove.
A lot of the people around the nation are saying that we lost our glamour, lost our respect around the nation, and it's a time for us to come out and play a great game.
For the first time since the last time Nebraska played Washington, 1992, the Huskers are an underdog in a regular season game. It is a game, they say, that will define their season. A game that, for one, could define a career.
Is this a defining game for you?
I think so, just because it's my senior year, and if we don't have the kind of season we want to have this year, then it's my last chance.
Frost is Nebraska's prodigal son, the one who transferred home from Stanford to assume the unenviable task of replacing the Tommy Frazier. The one who last week heard something very few Huskers, and never Frazier, ever heard at home.
Scott got booed. But mainly by our student section.
Which I thought was just basically childish, do something like that. The crowd basically showed me that, fans all over can be fair weather friends.
Oh, I was upset. Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. I was playing well, doing well, and, it's just something that got me upset, and I actually played better because of it.
He completed 9 of 14 passes with no interceptions and a touchdown.
That was just a little look there, folks, and I'm not trying to bring up the past. I know it's not 1997, but that's what Scott's talking about. He was booed in a game. We won 38-24. Oh, how the expectations have changed in Husker Nation. Just think about that, folks. That was maybe you, maybe your father, maybe your cousin, in that stadium that day, booing Scott Frost for, not being flashy enough, not winning by enough, even though he went 11-2 in his junior year and was probably one game away from another national championship appearance. He comes into 1997 as the senior quarterback, had all of Osborne's confidence, but yet we as fans didn't believe in him yet. Just think about that, folks. Just think about that. How the expectations have changed. How our expectations for a program have changed. So we would just love to just get a win right now. But back then, you expected domination. And Scott Frost went through that time of being the challenged one, being the one looked at as inferior, and he just went head on at that. And he came back that game in Washington, which they were just talking about, and blew the doors off of Washington, and the rest is history. They won the rest of their games, some phenomenal performances, and Nebraska was national champions in 1997. So that's what he talks about in his post-game speech when he says, I have went through tough times as a Nebraska player, and now he's going through tough times as a Nebraska coach. When he was a player here, because he followed Tommy Frazier, the expectations were as high as you could get for a quarterback. And because Nebraska has had so much struggles in recent years, and he was shown to be a phenomenal young coach, once again, the expectations were through the roof, even for me. And I right now, I don't know what to say about being 0-4. I don't have a lot to say about it because, quite frankly, I've been wrong about every single game almost in what I thought was going to happen. So I'm kind of done predicting right now. You can't tell what these players are going to do. Every time we have a good play, there's a penalty. Every time we have something that gets us some momentum, we do something to send us backwards. So I guess I just want to tell everyone that, Scott Frost is going to attack this thing. And he's going to find players that want to attack this thing. He said in his press conference, I'm just about ready to let some of these guys sit, and, I'll ride with the guys that want to do it good. You have my support, Coach Frost, because, I would rather lose the rest of our games and see players out there, giving 110%, then see players that are putting themselves before the team. When you're taking a cheap shot or punching your fist in another player's face after the play is over, or when you're away from the play, you have then put yourself in front of the rest of your team. You're not thinking, you're not being a team player. Even though you might have energy and you might want to win and you might come out and do everything you can, that one little moment, just erased a lot of good. So I'm with you, Frost, and I know Husker Nation is. I paid close attention after the game. 19 out of 20 people are still, 100% on board with you, and they just want to see you succeed. So Husker Nation, keep going strong, keep supporting, keep doing everything you can to help the whole family of Husker Nation get through this tough time. We're going to come out on the other end smelling like a rose, I promise you. And that's all I have to say. Go Big Red, beat Wisconsin.